Hi everyone, Shirtlad here. One of the biggest strengths of the PSP's G Generation entries is, funnily enough, the portability. Especially considering that one of the more prominent emulators for them can be ran on PC, Android, Linux, Steam Deck, and there's even a designated core for RetroArch. G Generation Portable is, of the three entries on that console, the least accessible G-Gen game on the PSP, in more ways than one. Overworld has a high-quality EN patch, translating everything except for the flavor text on each unit and pilot. World has almost identical menu composition, making it one of the easiest patchless Japanese G Generation entries to get into, if not the easiest. On the other hand, Portable feels like a hodgepodge of older G Generation entries, using G Generation F sprites alongside some new ones for Seed, S-Straight, Destiny, Advance of Zeta, and some others. It's got cutscenes from 98, Zero, F and Seed, and the menu navigation and the setup screen is a bit unconventional to say the least. So how about we start off from the top and branch out as we go, shall we? The first three options in the main menu are all in perfect English. New Game, Continue, and Collection, which is the game's gallery mode. The tabs in the Collection/Gallery mode, going from the top, are Character, Unito, Senkan, and Movie Collection, standing for Character, Unit, Battleship, and Movie Collection respectively. By pressing the R button when viewing characters, units, and battleships, there's also an option to view the full list, sort by series, alphabetically, and in the case of units, you can also choose to sort alphabetically by the unit designation. Movies can also be put into playlists. Here you can also look up character and unit stats by pressing triangle, so let's go over how to read these real quick. The character stats go as follows: shooting, melee, reaction, awakening, leadership, communication, steering, maintenance, and charm. The stats for units and ships are a bit more straightforward. Health and energy are self-explanatory, then there's the attack and defense stats, as well as the movement stat. The terrain ranks themselves get listed as space, air, ground, above water, since some units can hover, and underwater. You also get the attack compatibility indicators in the same order too. To see whether an attack gets mitigated or nullified by specific things, use the triangle again in the attacks display. Things on the mitigation list are Minovsky Particles, Phase Shift Armor, Beam Shield, Laminate Armor, Anti-Beam Shield, Anti-Beam Coating, Planet Defender, Eye Field, Anti-Beam Chaff. The circle means no effect, triangle means it gets mitigated, and X means it gets fully nullified. Now then, let's get into the game itself and pop the operation room open. Options from up top are the formation screen, basically where you set up unit groups, unit development tab for developing leveled up units, unit design tab for combining units to register new designs into production, list view, collection/gallery, and lastly the save button. Starting from up top, here are your sortie groups, consisting of one master unit, which will regain HP and energy each round, and two ship groups. You use L and R buttons to cycle between the group display, a full list of available pilots, and the sorting options, which remain in English until you select them, being sort by group, sort by number, as well as sort by character level and unit level respectively. In the group display, when going over an empty slot, you get the option to place a pilot paired with a unit. If you are in the tab for a master unit, it only lets you replace the pair or set it to standby, whereas when working in the tab for ship groups, you can use this option to move these pairs around, which allows you to pick who's the leader of each sortie team. Speaking of that one, this option lets you access the personnel in each group, and this one lets you sell the ship in the formation. If you don't have a battleship in the ship group of your choice, this option shows up instead, allowing you to buy one. When assigning people to the ship, here are the roles for each slot. Going from left, these are Captain, Second in Command, Comms Officer, Helmsman, Mechanic, and Guest. That's also what all those auxiliary stats like Maintenance, Steering, and Charisma are good for. I will now go over all the little options you get in this screen. The pilot-related submenu lets you move it with the first option and set its number in the pilot list. As for units, this one lets you move it up and down, this one lets you develop it, this one lets you give it option parts, and this one lets you shove it into storage and replace it with something else. And this one down there lets you sell it. This option lets you transform units. It's between storage and sell options. Same goes for this one, which is the hardpoint system, allowing you to change the equipment around. Oh, and there's an option with this kanji, which lets you quickly access available unit designs if you selected a compatible unit. If the designated unit slot is blank, the options here are to buy a unit, retrieve one from the unit stash, and take one out of the captured units. Lastly, the subflight system slot lets you buy one if it's empty, and if you got one already, this one moves it and this one sells it. The buy menus for ships and units lets you sort them by cost, series, terrain performance, and specific stats. The subflight system buy menu is the same, it's just missing the sort by series option. The tabs for unit development and unit design are fairly straightforward. The only catch here is that you need to assign units to a pilot, maybe even ship personnel, if need be, in order for them to show up. The units in storage have to be pulled out to be used. As for the List tab, it lets you view characters, units, and option parts, which can be sorted by whether any unit is using them or not. Then there's the list of stored units, which can be pawned off in the list display, and same goes for the list of captured ones. Although in that one you get the option to also sell all the captured units underneath the sell option. I've already covered the collection tab, and saving is rather foolproof. So let's move on to the command interfaces within the missions themselves. This one's just a confirmation screen for the mission start. The unit commands are fairly straightforward. When you select most units, the option up top is move, while the second one lets you pick an attack. Assuming you have moved the unit, the top option is now attack, while the bottom one lets you finalize this unit's turn. If you get a unit that can transform, it'll be the third option from the top. Same goes for the contextual purge option for units like the Ricochet. If you have a flying unit, this option lets you go airborne, and this one lets you go back down. If you have a designated mid-air stage, this lets your flying units go up, while this one lets you go down. Same goes for these two options that let you travel between maps. The kanji for these may vary, so if you're diving in a Yukon class, it won't show you the same one as, say, entering colony debris field, but they're still pretty straightforward. If you're able to do a support attack, this kanji shows up, meaning support, and allowing units within range to attack alongside you. When it's not your turn anymore, and you become a target of an enemy attack, your options are formatted in the same way as in the newer entries. Going from the top, it's counterattack, defend, and evade, which are fairly straightforward, especially if you've played G Generation games in the past. Ship commands are very similar to unit commands, although the third option from up top is always the sortie option, and you can't attack after moving the ship. You can always sortie units from the ship though, even after having moved the ship itself. Some ship models, such as the White Base, also come with the option to disperse particles or chaff, whereas the Minerva can remotely recharge compatible units. If there's any surrendering units, you can select the capture option from your ship to grab them. Also, if you have a multi-target attack, the top option lets you add more targets, while the bottom option confirms the attack. As for the pause menu itself, toggled on and off by the start button, the options going from the top are pass turn, check mission objectives, view the capture list, toggle grid, toggle battle animations, toggle auto retaliation, give up, and save. So yeah, that's most if not all of the need to know stuff for getting into Portable. It plays like a blend of G Gen Spirits and G Gen F. Although just like with other PSP G Generation games, save scumming via save state is much smoother. Overall, even despite being a somewhat grindy entry, given that the levels carry over when developing units, it is still an interesting one, letting you experience the older style of PS1 era G-Gen games with enough quality of life stuff for it to not be too much of a plunge off the deep end. At least in my opinion. Not to mention, having infinite chance tabs, giving a bigger support role to ships, and showing you all sorts of cosmic era units in the old G-Gen art style is pretty neat to say the least. Hopefully this'll come in handy if you choose to try getting into this game. I'll see you on the next one. Shirtlad, signing out.